John White, the retired civil servant and devoted Christian. 5 months ago he broke his leg, and it changed his life.
Right. Let's go down again. Yeah, the only danger of going downstairs is if you hurry, you have to put that stick near the edge. You're not, are you?
I am.
Oh, well, I haven't combed my hair yet.
Sorry.
There's always a danger if you put that stick right near the edge, it could slip off, you know?
Yeah.
And so you've got to take your time. I hope to think of what I'd do if there was a fire, because I couldn't hurry. Well, I could hurry, but it might have disastrous results.
Might hurt that.
God gracious me. No. Right. I didn't know you were doing this yet.
Yeah.
And that's means I've got the sound on this one, have I know?
Yep.
Oh. Right.
So, what happened on December the 2nd?
Well, I was having my supper, and meagre though it is, and then I decided that I would go to bed because I thought, well, Mum won't be home for some time yet, and I'm tired, so I'm going to bed. Then I started to go up the stairs. In fact, I took my socks off, strangely, a strange thing to remember. Took my socks off, put them in the washing machine, so I had nothing on my feet at all. And I was halfway up the stairs. And on going up the stairs, I thought I heard a bang, and I heard it again. Thought, well, it must be somebody's door banging. I didn't think it was ours because it's got a pretty hefty bolt on it, and nobody'd been out there in the evening, so it was unlikely to be ours. As I thought, our door was securely bolted. But looking across to next door, I could see their door, which goes from the drive to the back garden, was swinging. And each time it swung up, of course, it banged. So I knew I had to do something about it. I had a key to the property, although they had now gone into a home about a month before. So I took the key from the cupboard in the kitchen, where it's always been kept, and found a pair of old sandals and put on my feet, and went out through the front door, over the little wall, to their front door. I opened the front door, went through the hall, through their kitchen, and opened their inner back door, and then to the outer back door, which of course is a sliding door. I slid the door back, done it many times, stepped out with 1 foot. I'd only just touched the ground and it shot up in the air. I presume I hit some moss, and the next thing was I crunched down, fell down across the lower left leg, which was still on the step, or just about to come out. Yeah. Although the step itself was very shallow, only about 2 inch, but it was sufficient shock when the right leg fell on it, on the edge of that step, to do a tremendous amount of damage.
Yeah.
Well, I laid on the ground for a couple of moments thinking, what have I done? I tried to look to see where everything was, because it was very dark at the back of the house. There's no lights, no street lights or anything like that, of course. And it looked for all the world like a broken umbrella down at where my feet should be. And I thought, well, that looks as if that could be bits of something sticking out of my leg. And of course it was. That terrified me, and I laid there calling help. I must have shouted help 20, 30 times, I would think. It then started to rain, just to add to the discomfort. I lay there for quite a while shouting. I should think it must have been 15 minutes. And I didn't feel too good, and I thought, well, I've got to do something. I'm going to be, shan't last long lying here like this. I didn't know how much blood there was. I daren't put my hand down. So eventually I decided, well, I've got to get somewhere. So I half crawled and dragged myself to the corner of the house, and then the full length of the vehicle, which was parked in the drive, which has been left there as a prior arrangement. And I got just about to the end of that vehicle before I was still, still calling all the time, passed through the drains of the house as well, gullies and various other bits and pieces, and very loose gravel, until I reached the end of the vehicle. And I said, when I called and someone heard me, was coming down the garden, down the grass with his dogs. Luckily he heard me, he came to see what had happened, and he didn't know quite what to do, but with all the rumpus, the next door woke up by this time. And of course the man next door's wife had already rung for the ambulance, and they were here within a few seconds, or it seemed like a few seconds. And they took one look and went back to the ambulance, I presume, to not being dramatic, but I assumed to call in and say what sort of thing they were scooping up. And then they came back and made arrangements to lift me up somehow. I don't know how they did it, I don't remember now. Got me into the ambulance and gave me all sorts of medication, drug, oxygen, various things, and asked me all sorts of questions of who I was and all the rest of it. I suppose that was in case I pegged out between here and the hospital. Anyway, suffice to say, just before we set off, my wife arrived home, and she was rather surprised to see an ambulance here.
And to see an ambulance outside the house. So I didn't know what was going on. I guess something was major to see an ambulance.
Anyway, she came to the ambulance to see what it's all about. The man next door's wife was going to come in the ambulance with me. She thought, it seemed nice for someone else to come.
So I came in and a neighbour was with Grandad in the ambulance, and she said, it's okay, he's had an accident but he's alright, and Grandad by then was already in the ambulance. So
my wife came in and sorted out bits and pieces that she had to get and followed on up afterwards.
In the car, so that I knew I had to get home again, and it was late at night, so I drove up behind the ambulance instead of going in the ambulance.
Yeah.
And a neighbour went in the ambulance with him. And when we got to the hospital, the medical team were waiting.
I can remember 3 gentlemen standing there, look as if they were just waiting to get hold of me, as it were. And then another one arrived who was still in his, I won't say his Sunday best, but in his sporting clothes, I think, really. He certainly wasn't in a white coat, but he soon put one on.
It was very urgent. Yeah. It was mentioned amputation several times. But fortunately, they called the operating team in, and they operated in the night. And so I think it was about a 3-hour op. And next day had another operation for skin grafts.
I came to on the Monday morning, and they told me that I would have to have another operation the next day for the skin grafting. And they were all very attentive, and they told me not to move for 5 days, I think it was. I just laid there with my leg out straight in front of me, and there I stayed. Hospital was wonderful. Staff were perfect. Couldn't wish for better treatment if you'd been royalty.
So what's it like to live with Grandad now he's broken his leg?
It's improving now, he's recovering.
Okay.
But at first it was a bit traumatic because we had to upset the house. The dining room had to be made into a bedroom. And because I had the nice job of cleaning the wound, and having been a Red Cross nurse, I was able to do that, fortunately, so it wasn't a very pretty sight. I did 21 years in the British Red Cross, Commandant to Devon 152.
Could I have a look at your swollen ankle?
Yeah, of course you can.
Thank you.
Yes, by all means, certainly, yes. I charge.
Yeah.
Right. Well, let's do it this way, shall we?
Yeah.
Shall I take myself off? It'd be easy,
Yeah,
wouldn't
okay.
it? All right, then.
Oh.
Ow.
You really want to do that, Alan? Smell your face.
Had you seen it before?
Not like that.
Not
No.
like that. No, but that's good now.
Yeah.
That's marvellous. You see all this. You see the skin. That was where the bones all came through. It looked like a broken umbrella. There was bits in every direction. Like a spoke should be an umbrella bit great. It was a bit like that. There was some. Anyway, that's where they came out, and as I understand it, there it was, and that skin is taken from there and twisted up round. It can't be detached and put there, but if you detach it, it would lose its life.
Yeah.
But by twisting it round and leaving it attached in one part, it still keeps alive and still keeps the blood circulating, or whatever the word is. So, and then to cover the hole where they've taken that from, they take a piece from up here. You don't need to put that on camera. And that bit they they take an oblong piece out from up there, a piece about like that, and they carve it up and shape it and put it onto there. And with luck it all takes. I've apparently got very good skin, and so it did take, which was very fortunate. It's the swelling of the leg, that's how they should be like that. So, you can't see where the pins are now, the nails. There's some nails in there somewhere. but it goes from there down to there, you see. And then they put two sort of dirty great nails, they're about 3 inches long there, across at the top and across at the bottom to keep it in its place.
When you had your broken leg,
Yes.
did you miss out on a lot of things?
Yes, it was. I broke my leg on Advent Sunday, December the 2nd, and I didn't go to church again until Easter Day, March the 23rd. Quite a long time for someone who goes normally every week, generally twice on a Sunday. And of course missed various other things in between, such as the holding the services in the homes. So I did miss quite a lot. But having got back into routine, it's wonderful again now to be able to do it all again. The only problem is I can't drive yet, so I have to be chauffeured there and chauffeured home. But that's a comparative detail. A bit too far to walk, and the problem is it's carrying all the bits with you if you walk there. There's this machine behind me is a bit heavy to use to carry. It's a monster. It's one that's got a nice loud volume. So I missed quite a lot of things. And well, Christmas I was in bed, I think, wasn't I? Yes, I stayed in bed Christmas Day. Well, all the days in December. I was 12 days in hospital, and it was a very long, drawn-out winter. But I think it was the right time of year to do it, because now it's getting to the time of year when you want to get out and look about in the garden and potter around, and very wonderfully I am able to, so that's wonderful. If it had been the other way round and I've been indoors laid up all the summer and then able to get about in the winter, it would have been rather foolish, wouldn't it? So just the right way round. I haven't got a lot to report, you see, because I haven't been doing anything. You know, I've started again now, but I read the lesson in church yesterday. I managed to do that with my step. It's rather interesting. We've got several of us down there at the moment who've got broken bones. It's rather funny because two of them in the choir have got sticks like I've got, and I sat up there yesterday because I was going to read the lesson. You see, and I didn't want to make an exhibition of myself scrambling to get up there, so I was stayed up there already. And when we were coming out, one of the others that's got a stick said, "This is the alternative procession," which I thought was rather apt, actually. Quite funny. Scotch in now. No, we have a drink of it. You have to wait a minute. You're exhausting me, you are. I'm going to drink all this now.